Playing from Francois Home.
Okay, we are in record mode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the world's greatest soon-to-be podcast with the world's greatest hosts. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're back to give you some more of the love that I know you enjoy. Why? Because I feel the need for some speed. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, that review you've been waiting for from Big Dave and CJ, the review of the boys from Bossk on Top Gun Maverick. Welcome back. Dave, how you doing?
Yeah, good.
How's the heat over there in California, Putney?
Oh.
Oh my God, so I've been at work all day. I really but I haven't.
No,
I've seen
right,
something.
Today's all right. It's the rest of the week that's going to be a killer.
Yes, the rest of the week's going to be interesting, but it's nice to have you back, Big Dave. Next couple of weeks is going to be interesting. I don't know how we're going to handle the next couple of weeks because there's quite a lot of films being released over the next couple of weeks, which is weird because it's been so quiet up until now. There haven't been particularly big releases, but this week we started off with a big one, or last week we started with a big one. But stupidly, because Dave talked so much, we didn't have time to review it last week. And that was Top Gun Maverick.
I talk too much.
Yeah, you do.
You changed all the stories that we're meant to use and then put a whole different show out.
No, we did all the stories. We just didn't review Top Gun.
We had to do 4 things. And you just started blurting out everything else.
No, we just didn't get around to Maverick, but that's all right. You waited 30 years for a review of Maverick. Waiting a couple of days isn't going to hurt.
Can't remember it now, though.
Yeah, you can. I'll remind you. Well, there's not much to remember. How do you forget Maverick?
Because I've done another load of stuff since then.
Right, so
finished Stranger Things.
When was the first
you made me watch
one?
Chip and Dale, crap film.
Whenever you say Chip and Dale, you say Rescue Rangers afterwards.
No,
right?
I'm not.
Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers. But anyway, we'll talk about them another time. This is now our review of Maverick. So let's ease into this one. It's been what, like 30 years since the original?
86,
how old were you?
I do believe.
86. So I would have been 11 years old. You would have been what, 6, 7, 3 years old?
8. 7 or 8.
So 7 or 8. Did you see it when you were that young, or did you see it later?
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy balls! What, your parents took you to the cinema and were like, "Sit down."
Well, no, I would have seen it when it came out on video, probably.
Way to the danger zone.
When I was that young, I used to watch all films like RoboCop and stuff when it came out.
Well, back then there wasn't too much of a big deal. I don't think it was until the horror started coming out.
You just went to the video shop and you just chose a film, and your parents went, "Yeah, all right."
Fair enough. Okay, so as with real time in the time we have here, the plot of Maverick's quite straightforward. Over 3 decades after the event of the first film, Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell is serving as a US test pilot who's avoided promotion to continue flying as Rear Admiral Chester Hammer Kane approaches shutdown. Like he's testing jets. He's like Hal Jordan. He's a Hal Jordan of the US Navy, and he's testing like super jets. And whatever happens during the test, he sort of messes it up or doesn't mess it up, depending on how you see it. And he's sent to the Top Gun Academy, but not as a pilot, but as a teacher, so an instructor. And that's done by his Iceman, who's it's Val Kilmer. It's Val Kilmer's Iceman, isn't he?
Val Kilmer's Iceman, yeah.
Yeah, so Val Kilmer saves him from getting kicked out of the Navy and sends him to the Top Gun Academy. Now, from the very moment the film starts, it's sort of like got a pace. Like it doesn't quite slow down like a lot of films do, so they'll stop for the romantic cess moments and slow down a bit. They'll go back. This film just goes. I was pretty much taken into it from the start, apart from the 2 young people who were sat in front of me with the mobiles. What do you think of the start, Dave? Did it bring you back the memories from the get-go for you?
Oh, yeah. As soon as it started, you heard the dun the music.
What is it again? It's no, that music is quite moving.
It's iconic music.
It is, it is. And again, the question was that I always asked.
It's probably a Hans Zimmer special, that one.
Was it Hans Zimmer?
I think it's Hans Zimmer.
And I think it was one of the, because it was Bruckmeyer. It was Bruckmeyer and Simpson that made that produced that one. And I was quite surprised to see their logo up because I'm sure one of them passed away. But don't quote me on that. I think that was it was Dom Simpson, Jerry Bruckmeyer, and that was quite interesting that they sort of got their names back up there again. They hadn't made this.
Jerry Bruckheimer does everything.
He does. I mean, he was most of the big '90s films were him.
Does all the TV shows as well, apart from Dick Wolf. And so yeah, from the start, the film's quite high paced. It's not slow by any means. And there's been a lot of hype for this movie. And one thing, I know it's only a small thing, but one thing that annoyed the hell out of me is they kept making it out like they allowed this cast, including Tom, to fly a jet fighter on his own, which I know for a fact is not the case. There was no way that Tom Cruise or any of that cast, after 3 months training, was flying Tom Cruise was in the jet fighter.
Yeah.
With
they
the
were all
fighter.
in them. Yeah.
Yeah. He was
but they try and make it seem like they were flying on their own.
He flew the one at the end.
The F-14. The block up one.
No.
Oh, the propeller plane.
The old plane, yeah.
Spoiler, but yeah. And to be quite honest, it's one thing.
Not really a spoiler, he's restoring it the whole way through the film.
There's two things I liked about this film, yeah. One of them is Tom Cruise for the first time, I think, doesn't seem to mind the fact that he's a short man.
He also took the back seat, really.
To a degree, I mean, he still ends up being Johnny Big Bollocks in it.
It's Johnny Big Bollocks, but the background cast had a lot of the story.
Yeah, they step up a bit and they give, what's his name, which I'm really surprised by, Miles Teller. Now, Miles Teller's been in some howler movies in terms of how bad they've been recently, and this one, but he seems to get these really good projects. Like, I didn't watch it, but the one when he's a drummer, and I think that won an Oscar. And then he did Fantastic Four, which
oh yeah, he was in Whiplash. Yeah, I haven't watched that.
Yeah,
that's been on my list for years, and I still haven't got around to watching it because it was on Amazon Prime.
But he plays Rooster, who's the son of Goose, who dies in the. If you haven't seen the original Top Gun by now,
everyone's seen it.
But he dies in the first film, and I thought that was they put him in there to create some tension, because obviously without that tension, this movie would be really bland.
But the tension wasn't about him killing his father.
No,
it's about him not allowing him to join the academy.
Yeah, and the reason behind that as well, which isn't revealed until halfway through the movie. But what I also found strange about this
Ryan's
film,
fault.
The first film is very homoerotic, right? There's a lot of hey, you can be my wingman anytime. Like the volleyball beach game, there's a lot of that. This film, none. They don't even play.
Beach game was only once, and they changed it for American football.
Yeah, but they literally don't even get anywhere close. The bonding session happens and goes before you know it. It's not there long.
Well, they all knew each other beforehand.
Yeah. Well, they knew who each other was. Because they're all the best pilots. And they all
came from Top Gun before, yeah. So
they're all the best pilots, and they all keep telling you that. Well, we're the best. Who's going to train us, ladies and gentlemen? I introduce to you Captain Maverick Mitchell.
I should have brought Viper back.
Yeah. From that moment on, it's just Tom Cruise spanking everybody continuously throughout this entire movie. But again, Tom Cruise is a short guy here, and I hate to bring this up, but he got a lot of stick for the fact he's a short man, especially after Jack Reacher. And I can't get over the fact
but he deserved that for Jack Reacher. There's a big difference of a height with Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise.
I know, but he did a decent look for it.
That's like me playing Willow. Come on.
No. That's too much. It's funny, but I don't know.
That's the fact. That's like me playing Willow.
but yeah, well, but yeah, I didn't have a problem. I didn't find Jack Reacher that interesting, but I did like the latest TV show they did. I could see why the fans were a bit upset. The film's touching in a few parts, especially having Val Kilmer back. I had no idea Val Kilmer was in the going through what he was going through until recently. And Val Kilmer, in very many ways, has done a lot of movies from my childhood and my 90s and 80s, which
Willow.
I'm just, well, yeah, Matt Mardigan. He's done a lot of films, and to see him go through what he's going through and the way that they actually play it into the film,
but
I thought was really,
the speaking
really
part
touching.
was actually CGI.
Yeah,
because he can't actually speak.
Yeah, because I think he lost. It was throat. Was it throat?
Yeah,
cancer?
throat cancer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's been really interesting that they were able to bring him into this. And like I said, Val Kilmer did a lot of films. Most notoriously, I think it was Batman Forever, or Batman before the one before.
He done the one with Alicia Silverstone, didn't he?
Yeah, so long ago though. I think
was he the one with the first Robin?
Batman Forever. That was it.
Yeah.
It was Batman Forever in 1995. But one of my favorite roles with Val Kilmer has to be Tombstone, where he plays Doc Holliday.
Yeah, he was good in that.
I'll be your Huckleberry. Sorry, that's my best Val Kilmer. Sorry, but that was for me. That was just
wasn't he in The Doors as well?
Yes, he was. It's a good call, Dave.
And he was in Heat.
Yes, he was. No, was it him or was that Brad?
No, he was in Heat.
Was he? Okay. One person that is notoriously missing from all of this fun, which is nice, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, but they make a great deal about reminding people about the original film. But I don't think was it Karen Gillis? I forgot her name.
Kelly McGillis.
Kelly McGillis. Don't even mention her ass. She doesn't. I think they have a picture of her somewhere. Right?
She's the next.
Yeah, they don't even have her in this film. And I look, I know Tom Cruise has kept himself together and all the rest of it. And that Tom Cruise you see there is still as tight probably as he was 15, 20 years ago. But then if they don't match up in that way, obviously they could have done something else with her. Do you know what I mean? They could have had her with her own family and kids and hey, well, it didn't work out or something. But to have her not even in the film.
Yeah, but Jennifer Connelly looks good who took her place.
Yeah, but Jennifer Connelly always looks good. Like, Jennifer Connelly looks good.
She doesn't age. She ages well.
She does, but she ages very, very well. And I think there's been very few times Jennifer Connelly, like, she was was she the 80s or 90s girl for us? I can't remember.
She was 80s, wasn't she? She was Labyrinth.
Yeah, and that was her.
And that was really good because when she came in, they played David Bowie's music when they first introduced her, and I thought that was quite good with the Labyrinth.
I didn't even notice that.
That Labyrinth Easter egg.
Well, Labyrinth, yeah. Like she's what was a film I first remember seeing her in? I think it would have been
probably
Labyrinth
remember her
as well.
from The Rocketeer.
Oh yeah. Stop it! I'm doing this. I've got to stop doing that. But anyway, yeah. I
didn't realize she was in the Hulk.
Yeah, she plays Betty in the first one. Do you remember the one that everybody?
Oh yeah, she was Betty Ross. Yeah.
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 The one everybody hated. That one. That was the one where everybody was like,
that one doesn't exist. That's why.
Nah, blah. Nah, there's just no. They should bring her back. I think she was really good. But yeah, so she comes into this. She's the love interest in this film, and again, it's a bit of a more mature. Is that the right way of relationship approach to this one than before?
Yeah.
For Tom, like in terms of Tom Cruise's previous films, and
she plays an ex-girlfriend, doesn't she?
Obviously. Yeah. And I think it's quite interesting the point that they don't hammer.
they keep going about how old Tom is, about how he's over the hill, and about how he's got to like grow up. And
They don't actually say how old he is, do they? So
no, they're just like, you're still a captain. Like even little girl, there's a little Jennifer Connelly's daughter in the film is just like, you're still a captain. Like everyone's like, you're still a captain. And it's quite cool. But he spanks everybody in this film, and he gets to be the hero. I know
this is what I don't get. Right,
they're
all captains in the first Top Gun, and they get invited to participate at Top Gun. Yeah. All these kids in the new film have all qualified from Top Gun, but they're all lieutenants.
Yeah.
Why are none of them captains?
Because then it just would have made storytelling that bit more difficult, in it. It's like they wanted to keep it nice and simple.
Not one of them's a captain, but they're the best of the best.
They're the best of the best, and they're about to go into a combat situation. I think if you reach a certain reach a certain rank, you don't get sent into combat. You just become a teacher. Like I know in the British military, if you are considered a Top Gun, you would never go into live combat. You'd never be allowed to go into straight combat. You'd have to be the person training the pilots. And I think they sort of almost did that with this film, because they said to Tom Cruise at the start, you're not going into combat. You're training the kids. You're the best. Why would we send you into combat? And so the whole film it's like a Rocky film. It's him trying to train these kids and get them into shape and turn them into the best of the best. So they're going into this combat situation, and at the very least they survive. And to create tension, the commanding officer doesn't believe in him. The kids have all got the pilots. I'm calling them kids. The pilots, the lieutenants, all have a problem with
younglings.
Yeah, they all think they're better than him. But Maverick's too much of a badass to let that shit
shows
fly.
Them different.
Yeah, and so he trains them through. Miles Teller, like I said, is sort of plays an antagonist. There's no real bad guys in it, but there's people you'll end up not liking. But I think at the end of the film, you'll like everybody, even the bad guys, who surprisingly turn up at the right time.
Who is the one that is really annoying that no one likes?
I think it's. Don't quote me on this. I think
leaves them all to fucking
Jake Pickering.
Hangman.
I think Hangman. That's Glenn Powell.
He just leaves them all hanging on to die.
Glenn Powell is the one that everybody ends up hating the most. And what I also found interesting about the film, there are literally just two black characters. One's Tom's best mate, who somehow, right? I don't know.
That's one more than the last film.
Yeah,
when you just had Sundown.
Well, you've got the guy who's a pilot who's quite cool. Like he doesn't have many lines, but he's respected. But then he's got Tom's best mate, who's a slightly fat dude, who at one point is command of like his advisor in the control room at the start of the film. Then he's ground crew, and then he seems to be doing all these jobs. And I'm like, how's it? I thought he was, but whatever the case. At least he got some lines. I've got to give him a bit of credit for that, because I was just like, it's better than what Tom Cruise usually does. So that was pretty cool. In terms of female characters, again, there's female pilots, and I think one of the female pilots gets quite a upfront role, especially near the end of the film. But this is a lads movie. This is a stag night film. This is the chest pumping. It's like, yeah, go America sort of movie. And it's not bad. And I ain't going to lie. I asked Dave how he felt. I enjoyed it.
I absolutely loved it.
I'm not going to lie. I was sat there going, come on.
I absolutely loved it. It brought it all back. Like I said, in the 80s, you had a lot of aeroplane films. You had like Iron Eagle.
Yeah.
And you had, what was the other one?
I think it was Iron Eagle. Tom.
There was Iron Eagle, and there was another one.
Let me see what happens when I type into films.
And
films like Top.
So there was loads of like aeroplane war films.
80s. Yeah, Delta Force. Right. Okay. Let me give you. So before, because Top Gun was 85, 86. Do you remember Firefox? That was Clint Eastwood. That was a really bad film, but that was Clint Eastwood. Iron Eagle, which you mentioned.
Eagle, yeah.
Blue Thunder. Navy SEALs.
Navy SEALs.
American Made.
Well, Navy SEALs wasn't more. I don't know, like Under Siege sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the same sort of like, you know.
It's all war stuff. Yeah, it's all war jarheads.
What is this one? Only the Brave, that's a fire one. Do you know what? One thing I'll give Tom Cruise a lot of credit for is just by looking at this list I've got up on my screen now, they've tried to copy what Top Gun has done
of course.
For decades. And I'll say this again, Top Gun managed to do something that so few other film franchises have managed, if you actually think about it. Matrix, Star Wars, Indiana Jones.
One film, that's all they had to make.
And he's done one film in 32, like a sequel after 30 years. And somehow it's number one at the American box office at the moment. That says a lot about what this film means. And I think the vast majority is dads taking their kids to watch it.
But it's also the scenes with the planes are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Be it CGI or not, it looks real and it looks.
Oh, really no, because I think they were filmed. I think the only bits with CGI were the actual explosion, like them blowing up and stuff like that. But I think that like Tom Cruise in the trailer. I know you don't watch the trailers, but Tom Cruise in the trailer's like, yeah, we did 3 months training with them. They had to be their own camera person. So they have the camera in there. They had to film themselves doing the left and run left and all that stuff. So they actually became camera people. And I was so proud of this cast. Yeah, Tom worked out the regime for 3 months to get us in shape, get us into form for this. So it was but they worked hard on this.
They were saying they were all throwing up and they've all hit proper G-force speeds.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I've got no doubt about it. I mean, there's a few like silly bits in it that clearly there's no way that can happen. Like there was one bit where they fly above, they have like Maverick showing off, and he flies above Teller's jet, and he's upside down. There's no way they could fly like that. Yeah, inverted. There's no way they could have flown like that. Those planes would have crashed.
Well, they can, but they would have been a bigger difference.
Yeah, but it looked amazing.
And when he went through the middle of them both as well, that can well, it might be.
It looks absolutely amazing, and the way they filmed it, like the US Army must love Tom. It's like we don't need to do that. When it's Tom's job, we don't need to film or pay any advertising for a year. Tom just sorts it out for us. And even though most of the people that apply will never become pilots, we use them anyway. You know, kind of fun, all good. But like I said, so few films have managed to copy what Tom Cruise done in terms of military films. I think the only ones I can think of off by hand are maybe Crimson Tide.
Hunt for Red October.
Which one?
Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, Hunt for Red October. Behind enemy lines, sort of tried to do that, that sort of thing.
Under Siege, yeah.
No, Under Siege, no. Joe, Under Siege. The more I watch Under Siege, the more I watch that film, the worse it gets. Like, you know how some films get better over time? That one gets worse because I'm like, they have the worst plan you could possibly have in the world.
He's only a chef.
No, but hear me out. Yeah, it was like when I was watching the film Interceptor, right? Because they basically steal the plot of Under Siege. But it shows how bad Under Siege is, right? Because it was like the criminal's plan, right, is to steal like hundreds, like what is it, 6 million? Or it was only about 6 million from the US. They weren't asking for a huge amount of money.
Yeah, but it was a lot then.
Yeah, but they were asking for 6 million, right? And if they didn't get the 6 million, they were going to nuclear missiles in the United States, right? Now, take into account the USA is the world's biggest nuclear power and biggest military force. Where would you hide? Like, where would you go to? Like the US Army or the US government's not going to go, we're going to come for you. What, you think you could go to Cuba? And like they'd literally snipe you they'd come after you. And I was like, there's no way that plan would work. There's no way you could hide after pulling off a heist like that. So I just thought it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that just gets worse. As much as I can't stand to watch what's the name? Who's the lead actor in that one again?
In what? Under Siege.
Yeah,
Steven Seagal.
Yeah, I can't even stand watching Seagal anymore because the more films he does as well. Like the one thing I'll give Bruce Willis credit for is even though he was making a lot of rubbish films recently, he didn't. He was just Bruce Willis. Yeah, he was clearly not that well. He didn't go out and be the big action man fighting people, knocking people out, or whatever. He just came in, did his job, left.
He went back to his roots of just being an actor.
Seagal, the more films he does, the more fake everything about him seems.
The trouble is, he's got so fat, and all he is all hands, isn't he? So it's. But my body is big, but my hands are quick.
Which Tom Cruise will never be. Tom Cruise will always be.
Oh, no, but he has been fat.
Yeah, but he's never... Tom Cruise has never dialed it in.
Tom Cruise was a big fat man dancing.
But he's never dialed
that Jack Black film. Do you not remember?
Yeah, no, and not just Jack Black. Jungle.
That's
the one where... Was that one?
Black, yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. was the black man.
But he's done a fatty before as well, I'm sure. Or maybe it's just my imagination, but
I can't remember the name of that spoof film. I can't remember the name of it. Because he was only an extra, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's only in it for a very short while. But yeah, credit to Tom Cruise and the director. I can't remember who the director is, but he deserves kudos. I think his work. Yeah, Tropic Thunder. Joe Kosinski deserves credit because that's some great direction, especially working with Tom Cruise. That is some superb direction on this film. If it struggles, if I've got any criticisms for it, it's the whole nameless enemy thing they do. They don't once name who they're going up against. They don't want to talk about why, like, who the enemy is, what's the enemy all about, why they actually have to stop the enemy from getting what they want. And I find that quite interesting. That's the type of film, because that's not even the type of thing they do in the 80s. Another thing I found interesting is there's a scene where Tom puts a jacket on, and it's got like military badges, and one of them's Taiwan.
Yeah, the famous Averex jacket.
Yeah, and they weren't ever going to put that. And I know they cut that out of one of the trailers because the Chinese were offended. But I reckon they just went, we don't need China anymore. And clearly they don't. I wouldn't be surprised if this film ends up making $1 billion over the next couple of weeks because it doesn't have many good challenges. Jurassic Park World.
That got slated by Mark Turner.
Yeah, that had really, really bad reviews. So I don't think it's made money, but I don't think it's
of course it's always going to make money because kids love dinosaurs.
Oh, there were dinosaurs. Oh, sorry. I've got to stop that. Let's see where it is at the moment quickly. Yeah, it's made a lot of money. How's the money? It's already at 747 million worldwide. So I reckon it could just maybe hit under $1 billion easy. So yeah, it's done really, really well. And again, it's a Paramount who seem to be absorbing all the gaps that Disney and other studios are leaving for them in the cinema and showing that people do still want to go to the cinema. So hopefully we're going to see some more big movies come out in the next couple of months. The next one up, like I said, Jurassic Park, which I think we're going to wait till digital to do the review of because the review's been pretty bad and I'm not rushing out to see that one. But I think there's some big releases coming up over the next couple of weeks.
We got Buzz Lightyear coming out this weekend.
Yep, Lightyear and Thor is out in, I think, next
July, isn't it?
No,
July the 7th, I thought it was coming out.
I know tickets are already on sale, so that should be happening soon. But like I said, overall, I think if I was going to give Maverick a point, I would say I'm quite happy to give it 7.
Really?
Yeah, that's a high rating for me. Yeah,
I'm going to give it my highest rating of the year.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 9. Big fat 9.
Yeah, cha-ching.
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 Too much nostalgia for me. I love the first one. And I thought this was on par. Especially with like all the background stuff. It was good. And it had like little bits when he started playing the piano, and did the same thing when Goose played the piano. It was quite cool.
Fair enough. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I still think some of the really, really high.
It's the most enjoyable film I've seen in the cinema this year.
Okay, good. Highway to the.
And we're halfway during the year, and we've been to the cinema a lot. And we've seen a lot of rubbish.
Yeah, but hopefully up and coming cinema releases will make up for that. For Love and Thunder is
they bring out all these films now, and it starts to get hot, and you're like, no one wants to go to the cinema.
True, but I'll make the time as long as it's there.
4 comes out on the 8th of July.
I've got 7th of July. Yeah, I thought it was coming out sooner than that. It's 8th in July, so we're getting it a day early. Whoop, whoop. So the rest of the year is looking bulbous as such. You've got Black Panther sequel coming out. You've got we've already had Doctor Strange. You've got Thor. Will any of those big releases and Avatar at the end of the year? Will any of those big tentpole releases beat the might, which is Top Gun Maverick for Big Dave? Will Curtis change his mind and decide that 7 points is too low by the end of the year? We shall see, ladies and gentlemen. That was our special review. That was our special review of Top Gun Maverick. Dave, anything you'd like to add?
Got the need for speed.
Let's hope it's quicker than the amount of time it took them to make a sequel of Top Gun. 30 years.
Two and done. I think that'll be it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. Tom Cruise's year isn't over yet because part 1 of his next Mission Impossible.
That actually looked quite good. They showed the trailer for that, didn't they?
Well, the trailers always look good on Mission Impossible films. Like it's like Star Wars. What trailers always look good? Mission Impossible, Star Wars. I think that those two always look fantastic. I can't think of any other films.
And I also tell you what program everyone should be watching at the moment is the Sex Pistols story.
Is that really good?
It's only 6 episodes. It's really good.
Okay, I haven't started that yet. I've started the Elementary one that's on Disney. Abbott Elementary. Just started that. I've got to finish Wu-Tang off. I'll watch Interceptor. But anyway, Trey, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. I know there's no normal show this week, but we'll have plenty of stories for you next week, especially gaming news, because I think I've finally been tempted to join the next generation by the end of this year, because the games coming out in the next 12 months are something to behold.
Yeah, if you've got 90 quid in your pocket.
90 quid?
It's a lot of money for a computer game. You used to buy 3 for that.
You used to be able to buy, 4 for that price?
You buy a console for 100 quid.
Well, yeah. was there ever a time consoles were about 100 quid?
Yeah, but Nintendo, first Nintendo was 100 quid.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Inflation, eh?
Yeah, inflation.
Now they put an extra digit on the end.
Yeah, that's British economics. Will we even be able to afford to go to the cinema? Will we even be able to afford to game anymore? Is Game Pass going to be the only route to accessing any fun whatsoever?
Those games are terrible.
Well, I think, like I said, over the next 12 months, they've got some pretty good offerings. At the moment, they've released quite a few good games. I don't think I'm going to get one because I don't game enough. And Game Pass is something that... Anyway, look, we'll save that for our future show. Yeah. On the weekend was the Bethesda Xbox thing, and then with PC gaming, I think during the week you've got PlayStation and then Switch. So we'll talk about gaming next week and see if there's any releases that me and Big Dave, will hit up. Why? Because Curtis and McDave know what it's all about. Ladies and gentlemen, this was your special review of Maverick. Highway to the danger zone. Because I can't remember any other lyrics. Woo-hoo.
Kenny Loggins, yeah. Now on Apple Music.
Loose.